Sly Stone. I'm so glad that Sly is finally getting his due while he's still with us. I mean, it's long overdue. He's been clean for 6 years, and it's long overdue that we start focusing on his accomplishments rather than his problems. You know, it's just been too much of oh, isn't it a shame about Sly Stone? Let's celebrate Sly Stone, because I mean, everybody's got problems in their own way, but it's just, you look at the body of work and the songs from Stand and Sing a Simple Song, Everyday People, Hot Fun in the Summertime, I Want to Take You Higher, Family Affair, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, In Time, If You Want Me to Stay. I can just go on and on and on. I love Sly Stone. And I'm gonna probably do a second video about break down some of his music. Back in the day, in the late 70s, it was either 78 or 79 when this happened. I was working at Guitar Center. The assistant manager comes up to me and says, "Pack up that Polymoog. Sly Stone wants to see it." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah." Sly had called, got the assistant manager on the phone. His name was Steve, I think, this assistant manager. I can't remember. He was a nice guy, but I can't remember his name. But so we loaded up the Polymoog, which was a fairly new thing at the time. I wasn't all that impressed with it myself. It was kind of like more like a string synthesizer than an actual polyphonic synthesizer, which is what we were looking for at the time. But it used that divide down technology, and it was kind of limited in sound, and yet still it was pretty expensive for what it was. So it wasn't my cup of tea. But if I could, if I could spend some time at Sly Stone's house, demonstrating it to him, of course I want to do that. So we rode up to Mandeville Canyon, which is where Sly was living at the time. And he was probably renting that house. I don't know. I think he just moved in, because later when I asked to use the restroom, there were all these gold and platinum singles and albums just leaning against the wall. They'd been put there. They hadn't been hung yet. I'm looking. There's the gold single for Everyday People, and it was like, wow, this is cool. And Sly greeted us. There wasn't, there might have been another guy there. I seem to remember it being more than just Sly and Steve and I. But so I think there was a couple more people there. But we set the Polymoog up, turned it on, and I showed Sly how it works, and he sat down and he played it, and he loved it. And he said, "I'll take it." And I think that's when I excused myself to use the restroom, and he and Steve concluded the deal, and Sly got out his checkbook and wrote him a check on the spot. Now, you would think that'd be the end of the story, but Sly didn't make any kind of indications like, okay, well, I got work to do. The kind of thing that would, make you think, yeah, it's time for us to go. He treated us like guests, and he said, "No, sit down, let's talk for a while." And he started telling stories, and it was just so much fun. He was so warm and gracious, and just cool. I mean, anytime you've ever seen Sly, to say that Sly Stone is cool is just like saying the sky is blue. Of course he's cool. But what was even cooler is to find out that he was just laid back and just a nice guy in person. No uptight, I'm a star or any of that kind of thing. And he just started telling stories, and we talked and talked. And then he emptied out half of a cigarette and filled it up with what, a white powder. Lit that up and passed it around. Well, it was the late 70s. That was how things happened in LA. There was a lot of that stuff going around, and I'm not going to pretend that I was some kind of Boy Scout. I took my turn when it came my way. The funny part about that is just then we heard a car come up in the driveway. This it had like a circular driveway, gravel, so you always heard someone coming up. And Sly looked out the window. He said, "Oh, it's my manager, shit." And he opened the window and he starts waving his hands to blow the smoke out of the room. And I was cracking up. It reminded me of when I was like 14 and was sneaking cigarettes in my room at home in Cheyenne. Sly didn't want his manager to know that he's in there smoking cocaine with these knuckleheads from Guitar Center. And the manager comes in, and he's like this middle-aged bald guy that is just imagine a middle-aged bald-headed manager of a music celebrity, and you can just picture this guy. He was right from Central Casting. And you'd think that would have been the time that Sly would have said, "Well, I got to talk to my manager and usher us out." But no, we just kept on talking. And it was just a lot of fun. And I just really, really enjoyed that. And the one thing that I really remember is Sly said, "You know, when I was in college, I used to make myself write a song every day. I wouldn't go to bed until I had a complete new song, lyrics and everything." And his manager says, "Schmuck, why don't you do that now?" Sly just kind of looked at his shoes and didn't really answer that. But that was the story. So didn't have to take the Polymog back to Guitar Center, and I got to hang out with Sly Stone, and I treasure that memory. And I always was rooting for Sly, and I've always been a big fan of his. I mean, you think about his impact on music is so big. He influenced everybody from Jimi Hendrix to Miles Davis to Prince. And it wouldn't be a Prince without Sly. It's just the guy is a treasure, and it's time that we get to talking about that part of it rather than the sad part with the drug addiction and all that kind of thing. Because they did that to Jimi Hendrix for a while after he died. That was all he was known for, is accidental drug overdose, and that didn't define Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was an amazing person that changed music forever. Same with Charlie Parker back, he died 1955 at the age of 36 because heroin, alcohol, the whole thing. But that's not why we remember Charlie Parker. We remember Charlie Parker because he was just like unbelievably good. He invented bebop, he and Dizzy. I mean, it's just, come on, forget about it. So everybody's going to have some issue in their life. That doesn't define them. It's the music. Is a legacy of people like Sly Stone and Jimi Hendrix and Charlie Parker and all the people that I admire. I'll tell you, drugs don't enter into it. They don't help either. I mean, a lot of people got hooked on heroin because they saw Bird using it. And they didn't understand that that's not why he played like that. He was playing like that in spite of the drugs, Imagine what he would have played like without it. So that's my Sly Stone story. If you like it, please subscribe. You must subscribe. You must remember this. You got to subscribe. Mr. YouTube won't tell Mr. Algorithm anything if you don't subscribe. If you don't subscribe, it's like taking candy from a baby. It's like stealing pencils out of the blind man's cup. You got to subscribe. I'm talking to you. You right there. Push that button right now. It doesn't cost anything. Go on. Subscribe. I dare you. All right. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Adios. Ciao.
Thank you for letting us be ourselves. Thank you.